of the court. So here, alleging that it is basically happening at the behest of BJP, that argument stands absolutely flat. Reason being that it is being done at the directions or the directives of the court. So, certainly a big embarrassment for the Trinamool Congress, because the sitting minister has been found to be involved in a scam, which is to the tune of a few crore rupees. And, if you see the visuals that I've shared for our viewers, it shows that money has been collected, or you can say the money is in packets which belong to the West Bengal government. So, it's not easy to access those envelopes or packets for any common person. So those envelopes which has got a stamp of the West Bengal government, the sitting minister, it says it's about the education ministry. And those packets, if you see, there are, there is money lying in those envelopes. So what is the answer to that? So these things are certainly, which brings embarrassment to the Trinamool Congress. And let's see how they react, despite, their distancing in the entire scam.
Absolutely, Ashish. Now, I also wanted to continue with another question. What I wanted to ask you is, what is next for Partha? Now, how long are we expecting him to be questioned for, essentially?
So, he was basically questioned the entire night. That is what my sources say. Since they found the cash, Partha Chatterjee, after they basically raided him yesterday morning, and in fact, when I was speaking to my sources in the Enforcement Directorate, they said they also never expected this kind of cash lying with a close aide of Partha Chatterjee. They said, no, we never expected this kind of cash lying with a lady called Arpita Mukherjee, who stays in Diamond Harbour South area. And they never expected 20 crore rupees to be with that lady. But they said it's an absolute surprise for them as well. In fact, shocking for them that a lady having that kind of money in her house in Diamond Harbour South. So, the investigations continued. The Partha Chatterjee and Arpita Mukherjee, they were questioned overnight. That is what my sources confirmed. And they found that most of the times they were evasive. They were not answering from where this cash has been generated. They have not been able to give answers on this kind of cash, from where did they generate. But officially, the Enforcement Directorate confirms that, yes, the money is actually proceeds of crime that was collected at the time when the scam was basically taking shape. And, this money actually is collected money on behalf of Partha Chatterjee for getting a job of grade C, grade D, or teachers in the West Bengal government schools. So certainly a big scam that has come out, and certainly a big embarrassment. I say it's a big embarrassment for the Trinamool Congress.
Absolutely, Ashish. Now, I also wanted to ask you about the other ministers who are involved in this scam. Essentially, because Partha, now he's been arrested. He's not the only person whose locations that are linked to him have been raided. Now, the other key ministers, which are in the TMC government, there are multiple names that have come out. Can you tell us more about those and the positions in the education board that they hold?
So there are various people who have been raided yesterday. As I said, 14 people have been raided. There are certain officials of the education department. They have also been raided. There is a sitting MLA called Paresh Adhikari. He has also been raided. He's a minister of state in the West Bengal government. He was also raided. We need to find out whether other arrests apart from Partha Chatterjee are happening or not. But there are so many people who were raided yesterday in the West Bengal government, sitting ministers and people who occupy senior positions in the education department. And there has been unexplained wealth that has been found till now in possession of these individuals. So certainly, these things have come out as of now, and as the day proceeds, we'll have more details on this scam.
All right, Ashish. I also wanted to bring in Kamalika Sengupta to give us more details on this, but I want you to stay with us. Kamalika, can you tell us more about the TMC's response to all of this? Because essentially it's been confirmed. Actually, change of plans. I'm going to be crossing back over to Ashish. Ashish, my next question for you is essentially about the TMC's response to this. Now, they're calling it harassment. They're saying that this is a ploy by the BJP. They're using investigative agencies as what they say is something that they always do when it comes to governments who oppose the BJP. Tell us more about the TMC's response to all of this.
So if you see what Kamalika is saying, that they are trying to distance themselves. The Trinamool Congress is basically trying to distance themselves from Partha Chatterjee, Arpita Mukherjee, and various others who look to be involved in the scam. So they are basically saying, no, we've got nothing to do with the entire scam. But getting away or, just saying that, this money does not belong to us or we are not a part of this scam, it's very difficult for the Trinamool Congress to distance themselves. Reason being that Partha Chatterjee was basically occupying a senior position when this scam happened. He was basically the minister in charge. Now, a person who's supposed to be very, very close to Partha Chatterjee, if that person is raided and more than 20 crore rupees in cash has been found, what answers will the Trinamool Congress have? They can distance themselves, but they said, no, we don't know from where this cash has been generated. But very difficult to say because Partha Chatterjee was not only the education minister, he still continues to be, as he's arrested, he continues to be a sitting minister in the West Bengal government. He's the commerce and industry minister. He holds IT portfolio as well. And there are various other portfolios that Partha Chatterjee holds. And a person who's supposed to be a very, very close aide, somebody who's got, a close relationship with Partha Chatterjee, that person, if that Arpita Mukherjee is raided and 20 crore rupees of cash is found, packets which have got the West Bengal government, the education department stamp on it, that is found. And then, the cash cannot be explained from where and how this cash has been generated. Then obviously, the West Bengal government, especially the Trinamool Congress, stands on the back foot as of now because they need to answer from how this kind of cash has been generated and was the Trinamool Congress highest echelons, were they basically a part of this scam or not? So that needs to be investigated. Partha Chatterjee was questioned at length since yesterday till today morning. And finally, when he was evasive during questioning, he was not able to explain the kind of cash that was generated. Arpita Mukherjee was also not able to give any explanation from where this cash has been generated. So the Enforcement Directorate had no other option but to arrest them.
Ashish, now I also want to bring the focus a little bit back more on Partha, and essentially he's been arrested today. Now, what are we expecting to happen today when it comes to his arrest? Where is he going to be taken? Tell us more about that.
So the process is basically that first a medical is done, and then our post-medical, the person who's supposed to be an accused in this matter, it is Partha Chatterjee. He's going to be produced before the court, and the Enforcement Directorate is basically going to ask for his custody. How many days we need to check. Then obviously there's going to be a remand application, and if the court allows so, then the Enforcement Directorate gets the number of days of custody as the court says, and then obviously the questioning happens. But it's going to be interesting to see if not only Partha Chatterjee, in all likelihood others who have been part of this scam, they could also be arrested. So let's see how things move forward, whether more arrests happen during the day or not. That's going to be the crux of the matter, because if Arpita is arrested, if Paresh Adhikari is arrested, then obviously it's going to be another big setback because there's another Minister of State who could be arrested in the West Bengal government. So let's see how things move during the day. But after speaking to my sources, I can confirm if more arrests are happening or not.
All right. Now, I also wanted to ask you, Partha was essentially arrested from his residence. Do we know if there was any resistance that was met when officials came to arrest him?
Can you please repeat this question?
Absolutely. So essentially, we know that Partha was arrested from his residence. Do we know about whether there was any resistance that came forth when essentially the officials came to arrest him?
No, so the officials were there itself. They were there in the premises of Partha Chatterjee. He was being raided since yesterday morning. So the Enforcement Directorate officials never left his residence. They were basically, trying to find out on what all has been found from different locations. 14 locations, as I said, were raided in West Bengal by the Enforcement Directorate. And after finding that, yes, this money is basically a part of the money that has been collected for the bribe for job scam. It belongs to that bribe for job scam. The Partha Chatterjee as well as Arpita were basically evasive. They were not able to answer from where did this money come. So the Enforcement Directorate is looking forward for custody of Partha Chatterjee, and that is why, because he needs to be, that is what my sources in the Enforcement Directorate tell me, that a custodial interrogation is required because he was absolutely evasive during questioning, and that is why finally it has been decided he will be arrested, he will be produced before a magistrate, and then the Enforcement Directorate is going to ask for his custodial interrogation. So let's see how many days the Enforcement Directorate gets his custody for. That's going to be really, really interesting now.
Absolutely, and that's something that we're going to continue to keep our eye on. Now, Ashish, I also